My name is Ethan Cole, and I don't know how long I've been here anymore. I've lived in the same apartment for 3 years. 1 bedroom, middle floor of a small building on Maple Street. Neighbors, never really met any of them. Or, that's what I thought. One rainy night, I came home to find the door slightly ajar. Weird. I always lock it, even when I'm just taking the trash out. I stepped inside. Everything was in place. No sign of a break-in. I went to the kitchen, grabbed a beer, and sat on the couch. The lights flickered once. No big deal. Electrical problems in old buildings. Then, a knock. From the inside. It came from the closet. I froze. The knock repeated, softer this time, but unmistakable. Someone was in there. A voice muffled. "Ethan, let me out." I didn't respond. My mind raced, trying to understand what was happening. No one else had a key. I didn't call the police. I opened the door. There was nothing inside. Nothing but shadows. But I could feel it. I could feel him. The next day, my neighbor came over to borrow some sugar. He was tall, well-dressed, with dark eyes that seemed to have no warmth. "I've been meaning to introduce myself," he said with a tight smile. "I live next door, 4B. I nodded. I didn't know 4B existed. The guy didn't seem like someone who lived anywhere. Really. Days went by. Every time I left, he'd be there, standing in the hallway, watching. Sometimes, his door would be cracked open just a little enough to catch the shadows inside. I didn't knock. I never felt the urge to. But then, one night, I woke up in the middle of the night. Someone was sitting on the edge of my bed. The same tall, well-dressed man. His face was inches from mine. His voice was low, barely a whisper. "I'm still here," I screamed, but he wasn't scared. He smiled, like he had been waiting for this. "Let me in, Ethan. I've been waiting for you. For a long time. We've always been neighbors." I tried to push him away, but he was solid. He didn't move when I touched him, and when I looked into his eyes, they were dark, too dark, and I saw things in them. I stumbled back, heart racing. "Who are you?" "I'm the one who never left," he said. In that moment, I realized the truth. He wasn't just a neighbor. He was the one who had been waiting for me. The one who made sure I stayed here. The one who trapped me in this apartment, in this life, with no escape. When I woke up the next morning, I was in my bed. But it wasn't my bed anymore. It was his dot, and now my apartment is always filled with shadows. I never see the man anymore, but I feel him always just out of sight. Always just watching. I can't leave. I don't even know if I want to, and sometimes, when I pass by the old apartment door, I feel like there's someone inside, waiting for someone who won't ever come. My name is Ira Klein. I moved into Unit 6A of the Winslow complex last month. The place was cheap, and the view from the 6th floor was surprisingly nice, but the hallway felt wrong. There was a door across from me, 6B, but the mailboxes skipped it. 6A, 6C, no 6 bytes. I saw people go in and out at odd hours, always silent. Always alone. One night, I caught a glimpse of the man who lived there, or so I thought. He had no luggage, no phone, no keys. Just walked to the door, stared at it, and vanished inside without touching it. I knocked once. Just once. The door opened by itself. Inside was dark, not lights off. Dark void, the kind of dark that eats sound. I couldn't see a floor, walls. Nothing. I didn't go in. After that, I started getting visitors. Knocks at 2:33 a.m., always the same time. I'd look through the peephole. No one, but a shadow would stretch across my floor like someone was just outside, and I started finding wet footprints in my hallway. I called building management. They said flat out, "There is no Unit 6B. There never was." I showed them the door. It was gone. Just a blank wall. like nothing had ever been there. But that night, I woke up to someone inside my apartment, breathing, whispering, "Ira 6B, is you now." I ran to the hallway. The door was back. Only this time, it had my name on it. Ira Klein, Unit 6B. I moved out the next day, or at least, I tried. But every new place I go, there's always a door across from me. No number, no mailbox. And sometimes, when I blink, it says 6B. My name is Felix Noreen. I used to live in apartment C of a crumbling tenement on Ellery Street. Rent was low, and I never asked why. My neighbor, in 2D, was odd. Name was Lorne, tall, pale, never blinked. He'd stand in his doorway, silently watching, not threatening, just wrong, like someone wearing a human mask and doing a bad job pretending. The first time he spoke to me, he said, "You have a good fit." I didn't ask what he meant. I started noticing things, missing clothes, toothbrush, even a shoe. Then I caught him in my apartment, just standing there. Door was open, he said. It wasn't, I told the landlord. She looked exhausted. "Just keep your door locked," she said, "and don't let him touch you." That night, I bolted the door and pushed a chair under the knob. At 3:17 a.m., I woke up choking. Lorne was on my chest. His hands were cold. His eyes rolled back. His mouth hung open like he was breathing me in. I couldn't scream. I couldn't move. I blacked out. When I came to, I was on the floor alone, but things were ... off. My reflection didn't blink when I did. My voice echoed, "Wrong," and people stopped recognizing me. I went to the landlord again. She sighed and handed me a key. 2D, she said. "End it before he spreads." I unlocked Lorne's apartment. It was filled with mirrors. Hundreds, all fogged with breath from the inside. In the center was a full-length mirror, and inside it, me, pounding, screaming, trapped. I looked back. Lorne was gone. I've lived in 2D ever since. No one sees me anymore. They just say Lorne. Oh yeah, weird guy. Doesn't blink. But I blink. I scream. Just no one hears me. My name is Zane Hollow. I rent a studio apartment on the 3rd floor of the Greystone building. Cheap, old, and always a bit too cold, no matter the season. My neighbor across the hall is a woman named Clara. Sweet, old-fashioned, always dressed in the same blue floral robe. She greeted me the first day with a plate of cookies and a gentle smile. She never stopped smiling. Ever. At first, I thought it was charming, retro even. But the 3rd night, I came home late and found her standing in the hallway, smiling. I got uneasy. "Long day?" she asked. "Yeah," I said. "You okay out here?" "Oh yes," she whispered. "Just waiting." "For who?" Her smile widened. "For you?" I laughed it off, went inside, locked the door. Weird, but harmless. Then it started happening every night. Always standing in the same spot, always smiling, never blinking. I stopped answering. But one night, I peeked through my peephole. She was staring right at it, unmoving, unblinking, smiling. I backed away, heart racing. Then came the knocking, slow, methodical, not hard, just patient. It lasted until dawn. When I opened the door, she was gone, but a note had been slid under it. "Let me in. We're neighbors." I complained to the landlord. He looked confused. "Clara, buddy, no one's rented 3B since the gas leak. That unit sealed shut." He let me inside 3B himself. Floorboards were warped. Air was thick. And on the wall across from the door, written in what looked like nail marks, "I'm still here." I moved out that same day, but some nights, in new apartments, I still wake up to the sound of gentle knocking, and when I check the peephole, there she is, smiling, still waiting. My name is Corbin Vell. I live in a cheap duplex on the edge of town. It's quiet, which I liked. No loud neighbors, no barking dogs. Just me and the thin wall between Unit A and BIM. In a B was supposedly vacant. The tapping started 3 nights after I moved in, soft, rhythmic, always between 1 o'clock and 3 a.m. It came from the shared wall specifically, right beside my bed. I knocked back once, just to see. It stopped. Next night, it came again. Louder this time. Closer. I pressed my ear to the wall, breathing, not mine, not through a vent, just breathing, raspy, wet. I told the landlord. He swore Unit B was empty, even gave me the key to check it myself. I went in during the day. No furniture, no bed, just dust and echo. I stood near the bedroom wall, the one shared with mine. Nothing seemed strange, until I saw the drywall, scratched, dozens of shallow grooves, like someone had dragged their nails again and again, from inside. That night, the tapping came back, but this time, it wasn't behind the wall. It was under my bed. I flipped on the light. Nothing there. I barely slept. Next morning, I checked my bedroom wall. On my side this time, scratches, fresh ones. From inside the room, I called the landlord again. He didn't answer. Instead, I got a voicemail from a number I didn't recognize. A woman's voice, whispering, "Don't let it in." That night, the tapping was furious, like someone punching the wall. Then it turned into scraping. I screamed, yelled, "No use." Suddenly silence. Then, a knock at my door. I opened it. Nothing, just a note on the ground. One word, carved into the paper. Switch. I moved out the next day, but every night since, I still hear it, tapping, closer. And now, there's no wall between us. My name is Elric Denner. Rent a unit on the 6th floor of the Halberd Towers apartment 6E. Nothing fancy. Peeling paint, thin walls, elevator that groans like a dying animal. The first time I smelled it, I was brushing my teeth. A rot so thick it coated my tongue, like meat left in the sun. I opened my door and sniffed the hall. It came from 6F. Nobody knew the tenant. The landlord said, an old man, quiet, keeps to himself. But no one had seen him in weeks. The smell got worse. It clung to clothes. It made food taste off. I banged on his door one night. No answer. The next morning, flies covered my peephole. I called management. They came with a master key. 6F was unlocked. Inside was dark. No windows open. No sound. Just that smell, magnified. The walls were wet, covered in brown handprints. Thousands. Of them small, like a child's. And something else. Teeth. Lined up on the counter, like coins. All baby teeth. The bathroom door was ajar. I pushed it open. He was in the tub, or what used to be him, skin sloughed off in sheets. His eyes were open, staring at the ceiling, as if watching something float just above, and his mouth was stretched open far too wide, stuffed with more teeth. I stumbled out, vomited in the hallway. The police came, but when they entered, there was no body, no smell, no handprints. Just an empty apartment with fresh white paint. They thought I snapped, asked if I was using anything. I said, no. That night, I locked my door, turned on every light, and tried to sleep. Then I heard it, scraping, inside the walls. Then a voice, like a gurgling child. You looked, now it's your turn. My gums started bleeding the next morning. I spit out a molar last night. I'm not sick. He's inside me. My name is Lyra Cresswell. I moved to Hollow Oak Drive for a fresh start post-divorce, post-job burnout, post-everything. I needed quiet, normalcy, a place where nothing ever happens. At first, that's exactly what I got. Fresh-cut grass, smiling neighbors, trash days on Tuesdays. Perfect suburbia except for the man in the window. House across my number 309. Beige shutters. Empty yard. Never saw anyone come or go. But every night at 8:37 sharp, a figure stood behind the second-story window, just standing. Perfectly still. At first, I thought it was a mannequin, some weird decor choice. But then I noticed it would shift, slightly, different arm position, head tilted just a bit more. Always watching my house, I asked a neighbor. They got weirdly quiet. Don't worry about 309, they said. Just ... don't stare back. Naturally, I stared. One night, I waved. The figure moved, raised a hand, but not a wave of finger, slowly curling to beckon me forward. I shut my blinds, but curiosity eats at you, right? I watched again the next night, and the next. I started setting alarms to make sure I didn't miss it. 8:37 became a ritual. Then things escalated. I saw the figure at different windows. First upstairs, then the kitchen, then the bathroom, facing mine. Always 8:37, always staring. I bought a telescope. Zoomed in, no features, just a face-shaped void, like light bent around it. My phone couldn't capture it, every photo was static. Then one night, he wasn't in the window. I felt relieved, until I looked at my own reflection. Behind me by my bedroom window he stood, arms limp, face empty, closer than ever. I turned, nothing. But the next day, my living room window fogged from the inside, and a message appeared in the glass. You saw me, now I see you, and tonight, he's in every window. My name is Mara Quinlan. I moved into flat 4C of the Wellington Arms 3 months ago. Cozy place, cheap rent, decent view. The only weird thing, flat for beer right, next to mine has always been locked, dark and dead quiet. The landlord, Mr. Greaves, said it's been vacant for years. Water damage, asbestos, he mumbled. But something felt wrong. The hallway outside it was always colder, like breath visible in August kind of cold. Sometimes, I'd pass it and hear soft, rhythmic thumps, like someone knocking from inside, like breathing. It started small, scratching. At first I thought it was mice. Then I realized it was coming from the shared wall. From 4B. I pressed my ear against it one night. The scratching stopped. Then a voice whispered, Mara. I jumped back, called building management, but Greaves insisted 4B was sealed tight. No one can get in there, he said, and no one has. His eyes wouldn't meet mine. I started recording the noises. At 3:12 a.m. every night, without fail, something scratched at the wall, a slow, scraping drag, like fingernails, and then that whisper against clearer each night. Let me out. My cat Finch started hissing at the wall one morning. I found her curled in a ball near the radiator, eyes wide open, dead. I lost it, took a crowbar, went into the hall, and pried open 4B's door. It shouldn't have been that easy. Inside, dust, decay, a mattress on the floor, chains bolted to the walls, and hundreds of photos. All of me, sleeping, cooking, showering. But here's the thing. Some of them were from before I even moved in. I ran. Cops came. The room was empty. No photos, no mattress, nothing. They said I imagined it. Stress, grief, hallucinations, but every night since. The wall between 4B and 4C breathes, expands, contracts like lungs. Sometimes it sounds like it's laughing. I don't sleep near it anymore. I've moved my bed to the kitchen. My name is Jedwick Klein. I bought a rundown farmhouse in Silverpine Hollow to escape city noise and rebuild life from the ground up literally. First week was peaceful. Just me, the fields, and the silence. My closest neighbor, a man named Osric Fenn, lived half a mile east. Never saw him, only his land. especially the scarecrow in the middle of his cornfield. It was ... off too tall, arms too long, wore a stitched burlap mask and a black hat that never seemed to move, no matter the wind. I waved at it on my morning walks, jokingly at first, but something about it unsettled me. One evening, I noticed it had changed position. It was facing my property. Next day, it was closer to the edge of his field. By the fourth day, it was standing on the fence line staring directly at my window. I thought someone was messing with me. I called Osric, but his number was disconnected. I drove over. His house was abandoned, dusty, empty, as if no one had lived there in years. But the scarecrow was still there now in my field. I approached it with a flashlight and a shovel. When I got close, it smelled like rotting meat. I yanked at the post. It didn't budge. Then it moved. Not a lot, just the head, tilting toward me. The burlap twitched as if something underneath was breathing. I ran, locked the doors, didn't sleep. At sunrise, it was gone. Thought maybe I dreamed it all, until I checked the camera I installed on my porch. At 2:48 a.m., it walked, stiff and twitchy, across the field, up to my porch. Inches from the camera, it looked into the lens and whispered, "Harvest." I burned the field the next day, salted the earth, moved back to the city within a week. But last night, on the balcony of my 12th floor apartment, I found straw and a black hat. My name is Kyron Hollow. I've lived on Elkstone Avenue my whole life. It's a quiet street with neat lawns, nosy old ladies, and exactly the kind of place where nothing bad is supposed to happen. But all of that changed the day the tenant, at 11:43, moved in. He called himself Elian Braith. Tall, pale, eyes so green they almost glowed. He wore gloves all the time, even in the dead heat of August. I remember the moving truck came in the middle of the night. I only saw it because I couldn't sleep. The movers were silent. No talking, just efficient shadows. At first I thought he was just eccentric. He didn't mow his lawn, never took out trash, and the mailbox overflowed daily. Yet, every evening, a single light would flicker in his upstairs window, like a heartbeat. On, off, on, off. I watched it more than I should. Single quotes V. One night I decided to knock, just a neighborly gesture. I baked a pie, even like in those TV shows. But when I rang the bell, I didn't hear footsteps. Instead, I felt something. Pressure, like the air itself, turned to cement. The door opened without a sound. No one stood there. "Hello," I called out, hesitating. The pie trembled in my hands. The hallway stretched into a darkness that swallowed light. I placed the pie down, whispered something stupid, like "Welcome to the neighborhood," and bolted. But the next night, the light didn't flicker. It blinked, rapidly, like it was signaling me. Morse code, maybe. I recorded it. Tried to decode it online, even posted to a forum. Someone messaged me back. All it said was, "Get out." That same night, I woke to whispers outside my window, my second-floor window. I peeked through the blinds and saw Elian staring directly at me, smiling. His eyes were too wide, his face too long, his shadow cast upward, against physics. I screamed, but when I looked again, nothing. I went to the police. They investigated. No one answered his door, no furniture inside. They claimed the house was vacant, has been for years. But I saw them flickering again last night. This time, it wasn't from his window. It was coming from mine.